Gillespie for three. Wow, big shot.
And his layup is blocked by Samuels. Pascal wants to attack, flying in for the two-handed jam. Splits the double team, flies in for a vicious one-handed jam.
Double clutch rejected by Booth.
2-on-1, Booth, scooping layup is good.
Timmy, you gotta go into it. Samuels, hammer time.
Gillespie finds a cutting Pascal, flying in for the two-handed jam.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Finneran Pavilion for the 2019 NCAA Selection Show here on Nova Nation All Access. I'm Steve Pannone. I'm joined by Whitey Rigsby. Whitey, wonderful turnout tonight to celebrate the 2019 Big East champions.
It's great. It was a great week for us in New York. 3 great wins for the Wildcats, and the atmosphere is just tremendous. We've never done it here before, obviously, and to have this event in this building, in this space, with the big screen TV is really, really cool.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this year, Whitey. You know, obviously, Wildcats lose so much from last year. 4 players go in the top 33 in the draft, and people just, for the first time in a long time, Villanova was kind of an unknown. You know, not knowing what they'd be, struggle out of the gate a little bit with 2 home losses to Michigan and Furman, and to see where they ended. What did you just give me your analysis of what you thought throughout the season?
I think that everybody thought throughout the league, if not throughout the country, certainly throughout the league, that this was the year they were going to get Villanova. This year they were going to get Villanova. Villanova lost. Jerry Wright lost 4 players to the NBA. NBA players, guys who are playing in the league, right? Their preseason freshman point guard took longer than expected to kind of get into the flow. So they basically were returning the players from last year, and Saddiq Bay, who had a great year. So I was thrilled with you. I think it was Jay Wright's best coaching of his career. Do you agree with that?
I do, because I think, you know, just as you said, all the pieces he lost, but even the pieces he returned had new roles. Phil and Eric had to take on a leadership role that they really didn't have last year. So, you know, they had some returners, but everyone returned to a different role.
Yeah, and we weren't sure if Phil Booth could be the Phil Booth he was at the end of the season.
Certainly.
Phil Booth has had so many great moments in his career, in his 5-year career now, but he's always been the other guy who stepped up really big in this game. But he's always been the other guy. There's been people, for him to be the star and the lead dog on this team, we weren't sure if he could do that or not. He certainly showed he could, being first team all-league and MVP of the tournament.
Yeah, so really we kind of became, you had Phil and Eric as your 2 constants, and you needed them to play well just about every night. And then the question was, who else was going to be ready to play? And we found out that, you know, Saddiq Bay was probably better than people thought. And then you had Colin Gillespie and Jermaine Samuels and Dada Cosby Roundtree obviously coming in, and those guys as sophomores really stepped up.
Yeah, and I just think we talk so much, Ryan, Fan and I, and you and I off the air actually, about who's going to be the 3rd scorer. And for a while it was Colin Gillespie. He had some very good games, and he got a little flat. And now I think this team, and one thing Coach Wright tries to do is have them play, as any coach, their best ball late in the season. Well, you look at it now, I mean, Saddiq Bay has a pretty good tournament. You know, after a sluggish start. Jermaine Samuels is a guy we kind of all of a sudden found as a player. He does so much on the basketball court. He's now making shots. He defends. He blocks shots. He runs up and down. He's become a really important component to this team.
Great shot of the crowd here tonight, with everyone with their V's up, looking forward to seeing where they're getting picked. But let's talk about the last week, the Big East tournament. One thing I think that people got to realize that we were fortunate to be the atmosphere in the building.
Yeah, I've never, again, I think I've gone to every Big East tournament in the Garden. I think there's 37 or 38, how many there's been. I think I've been there for all of them. I never remember an atmosphere any better. And that building yesterday, for just one game, just the championship game, one game, was completely sold out. And I would say it was 65% or so Villanova fans. And one thing that has happened on the Jay Wright watch is Villanova fans, the Nova Nation, travels very well. Like almost, you know, you travel with the team too. Almost any place we go, there's a big contingent of Villanova people.
Yeah, and winning obviously breeds that.
Sure.
Everyone loves a winner, and everyone wants to be a part of something special that Coach Wright has built here at Villanova. But just to talk a little bit about the, you know, obviously the Providence game is a grinder all the way to the end. Wildcats extend that, win it by 11. But let's talk about the semifinals with Xavier. Down 7 late in the game, the Wildcats find a way to pull it out in overtime.
And I'll ask you, did you think they were going to win that game?
Going into the game, I did.
No, during the game.
You know what's funny? I thought we would shoot the ball better than we did, so therefore I thought we'd win the game. I thought at some point we'd be able to knock down some shots. Did I think we'd have to wait that long for Jermaine to knock down 2 of them? No.
Yeah, and I thought even when we were losing, like the moment you talked about, I said we're going to win this game. I thought we were the better team, but the better team doesn't always win. But I just thought I was confident that this team has been too good for too long.
And there we see Jermaine knocking that one down. He's in all parts of the rim and the backboard.
That still counts for 3. So, but I just thought we were the better team, and I think Xavier played well. It's interesting what I find in this league is how teams are the same. Providence is the same Providence team they were 10 years ago. Different names, but they play the same way. And Xavier, for the most part, too, now that they're shooting the ball better, early in the season they couldn't make a shot. Now that they're shooting better, they play like all those Xavier teams.
Yeah, I think they recruit to their philosophy, their style of play. Xavier likes big physical guys, long-armed athletes up front, so that's kind of their style. And then you get to Saturday night, last night in the Garden, one of the most magical nights in the history of that building. As you've been sold out, 2 local schools going at it, a game that goes down to the last shot.
They're 2 long-time Big East opponents who've played a lot against each other in the Big East tournament. They've played against each other in the championship game before, and Seton Hall obviously knocked Villanova off in 16, and people would say that spurred us on to a national championship that year. But yeah, it was an old-fashioned kind of grinded-out game with 2 very, very talented guards leading the way. But Villanova's supporting cast was better than Seton Hall's supporting cast in that game.
Yeah, and you're talking about Eric Pass got a real good first half. It took Phil until the second half to get it going. See him knock down a deep 3 there. But Saddiq Bay, I thought here with the dunk was the difference. He gets him a double-double, and he just did everything, made some big plays in the game. And here's that last play off the backboard and then tapped away here by Jermaine Samuels to end it.
And even that play, so Saddiq Bay, he kind of boxed Mamu back almost into the crowd. And the ball hit off the backboard and the Wildcats won. And I thought that whole end of that game was poorly managed by the officials. Like they called it travel on Phil Booth. He never had the ball. He never had control of the basketball. They called it travel on him.
Yeah, and want to just throw in, first time in the history of the Big East Conference, the team has won 3 consecutive Big East tournaments. Great job by the Wildcats to do that. Here's head coach Jay Wright sitting up at the podium.
Getting a chance to be on the Selection Sunday show, which is kind of neat for us and Villanova to do that show out of New York. And very shortly we'll find out. And what do you think? Where do you think we could be heading?
It's for the last 5 years we've kind of known exactly where we're going. This year I'm going to say we end up someplace obscure only because we've never been sent out west. So I think we're heading somewhere obscure.
Whitey doesn't want to hear that, And I think we're going to go to Hartford. And I think the reason we're going to go to Hartford is because I think they're going to need an East Coast team up there. I believe they think of attendance. I believe they want to keep people a little closer to home.
Yeah, and a lot of times it just matters on what seed you are, because you're going to figure there's going to be 2 #1 seeds down in Columbia, South Carolina, because Duke and Carolina are probably both going to go there. So now you need 8 9s down there. So I'm thinking like you could bring Syracuse to Hartford. They're probably an 8 9. They may need to be down there because one plays 8 and the winner of that game plays the winner of the 8 9 game. So it's going to be interesting to see how it gets broken down. But I think all the spots are Hartford's as viable as anywhere else the way it's breaking down this year for the Wildcats.
Someone just told me the only thing good ever came out of Hartford was John Pannone.
That's probably true.
Same guy didn't mention Steve Pannone. But yeah, and I guess we could. You just don't know now the way the system's set up. You could really be sent anywhere. Yeah. But I don't remember, and you've been around a long time too, I don't remember Villanova ever being in the West region.
No, I don't believe
Even the way it's presently set up, where you could be in the Eastern pod, but in the Western region. I never remember us being
and everyone just speculates, but the Pac-12's been down. They're going to only have 2 teams. Now, the West Coast Conference is going to have 2 teams. They need to ship Eastern teams west because just got to fill brackets. But with the kind of the Pac-12 having a down year, people think they're going to send a lot of these teams, some ACC teams for sure, and then some of the Big East teams could possibly end up going out west.
Yeah, there just aren't a lot of teams from the Northeast that are I guess, I don't know, are there any teams from the Northeast, the true Northeast, that would be top 4 seeds? Probably not.
No, not this year. I mean, I think the teams that are going to get in are Villanova and Syracuse, Seton Hall. St. John's is on the bubble. If they make it, they're going to be an 11 or a 12, probably playing in Dayton. And so it's going to be an interesting thing, interesting feel. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll be back with more of the 2019 NCAA Selection Show on Nova Nation All Access.
He's a familiar face, patrolling the sidelines. A little older and wiser. But the Wildcats Director of Basketball Operations is best known to Nova Nation as a player, an integral part of the team which, in reality, began an era of unprecedented success for the program. Time flies. It's hard to believe a decade has passed since Dwayne Anderson was helping to lead Villanova on a magical ride that ended with a trip to the 2009 Final Four. Everyone remembers the shot.
4 seconds, 3 seconds, Reynolds drives, shot, got it! He got it! Villanova wins! Villanova wins! And Villanova is going to the Final Four!
But the memory that might be hazier now is that this team began the season nowhere near anyone's radar.
We wouldn't have thought in any way that this was surely a Final Four team. And partly because we had never done it. So we didn't know what a Final Four team was.
No one expected that team to do what it did, but I feel like that team had a quiet confidence about them that they knew they could go in and compete against anybody.
I mean, those summers leading up to that point was a lot of hard work, and we didn't know where it was going to take us, but Coach always expressed to us that, you know, I can't promise you, I can't tell you what's going to happen, but if you play a certain way and play Villanova basketball, good things will happen.
The good things came in part thanks to the leadership of Dwayne Anderson and Dante Cunningham.
When Dwayne became a key member of the rotation, it put him into a natural leadership role. I think the guys on that team always admired Dwayne. And as he was on the court, I just think it really all fell into place. And I thought it had a wonderful effect on Dante Cunningham. Dante's a quieter guy by nature, and it allowed Dwayne to be more of the vocal guy.
Not only did we trust each other on the court, but there was things that happened off the court where I was like the big brother or Dante was the big brother, that on the court it was just easy.
Even on nights when it wasn't, like a January showdown with #2 Pitt at the Spectrum.
There was a lot of excitement built up around that game, and their stamp was that they were the toughest team, and we wanted to say we were the toughest.
On this night, Villanova made a strong case.
The way we played against the #2 team in the country, I remember distinctly Dante Cunningham chasing down a breakaway layup and pinning it on the backboard.
That game, we knew that, you know, we wanted to prove something, and we did.
It was a signature win for everyone, including the players.
We knew how good they were, and it played out because we played them in the Final 8, but we learned how good we could be that night.
That team was very special because we had a lot of guys that did the dirty work. And when your stars are doing the dirty work, in our program, we don't say one person is a star. But for that team, Scotty Reynolds and Dante Cunningham were the stars. But they did, if not the most, a lot of the dirty work. So when your stars are doing that, like, great things will happen.
After face guarding Reynolds, Dwayne Anderson, and Villanova wins!
March of 2009 is like seeing a scrapbook of iconic images, with the captain front and center. Trips through New York and back home in Philadelphia led to Boston. Next up, a highly anticipated rematch with Pitt. With the Wildcats' first Final Four trip in 24 years on the line, fans in the arena and at home were treated to a college basketball game for the ages.
Man, that game was one of the best games in my career.
It was one of those rare cases in sports where both teams kind of rose to the moment.
It was like a heavyweight fight, like all those old school 15-round heavyweight fights. And it was just back and forth the entire time, and you never felt comfortable until the last buzzer.
And guys kept making great plays, and you would have an answer at the other end. And I think that's one of the things that contributed to making it such a wonderful game and a wonderful viewing experience for the fans in the arena and those watching at home.
Viewing, coaching, and growing as a team and as a program.
I learned so much from that team as a coach. There were little things in the Final 8 game where Dwayne Anderson got into a trap. He trapped when we were down, and one of the things we never do in a trap is reach down, and he reached down and stole the ball.
Rescuing the game and the season in the process. Sometimes it pays to break the rules, even your own.
Corey Fisher chasing down a loose ball so hard. He never liked to dive, but he got running so hard and he wanted it so bad, he fell into a dive on a loose ball. There was a lot of things that certain guys didn't want to do and they did, certain guys weren't allowed to do and they did. It was kind of just a team taking ownership and then teaching me as a coach that, you know what, you can only teach them so much. That there's got to be a freedom you give them to be themselves and to get it done on their own. And that's what that team did. That's what that team taught us as a coaching staff.
And I think now, even as an assistant, to look back and know that even our greatest teams that we've had in my time here, they've gone through things to get to where they got to. So, and they're all just such great Villanovans and represent us so well.
Scotty Reynolds' mad dash led the Wildcats to college basketball's biggest stage. A trip to Detroit and a matchup with a talented North Carolina team in the Final Four. The Tar Heels would go on to win the title, but this generation of Wildcats had taken their first steps on the road that led to an elite place in college basketball.
Coach, every year, man, he's a mastermind at figuring out how to make all the pieces of the puzzle work. I mean, Sweet 16s, Elite Eights, 2 national championships, man, it's amazing to watch this program develop over the years, but also now come back as a coach to see, all right, behind the scenes, how does he get the best out of each group? And 10 years later, he's always teaching it. Absolutely loves it.
Welcome back to Nova Nation All Access for the 2019 NCAA Selection Show. What do you got a chance to see the 2019? What are your quick thoughts on that before we go to the bracket here?
Well, it was a great run, through the tournament that year to get to the Final Four. Of course, everyone will remember the play by Scotty Reynolds. Scotty Reynolds drive to the basket after the pass from Dante Cunningham was such a cool thing, and it jump-started the Jay Wright era of excellence.
No doubt about it. And with the committee just announced that Duke will be the #1 overall seed. They'll open up on Friday in Columbia, South Carolina. No surprise there. They'll play a winner of the playing game, NC Central, North Carolina Central, and North Dakota State. That's not large bid for the Atlantic 10. VCU upset in the Atlantic 10 tournament. They're the 8th seed in the East against
Taco Falls.
Taco Fall in Central Florida out of the American Conference.
What is your expectation, Villanova? You think they'd be a 5-ish?
I think this could be us right here as a 4 or 5.
No.
Against Villanova in the 4? What do you think, Whitey?
We wouldn't be there. We'd be down the bottom.
No, you're correct. That's right.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, too, how the Big East does and how many teams get in. St. John's really played their way to the bubble.
They did the very best they could to get out. Liberty is at 28-6, also being San Jose. So there's a Southern team and an Eastern team.
Sure, all the way out in Santa.
Yeah.
So if there's Villanova potentially at 4, the Virginia Tech. So I got to think there's a good chance we won't be in Duke's bracket because I think we're going to be a 4 or a 5.
Yeah. Virginia Tech.
Yeah, the committee's showing the Virginia Tech team on there.
Very
excited about their 4 seed.
Not a big buzz guy. He's doing a pretty good job down
there. And if you're Duke, I don't think you're too excited about playing someone within your conference that kind of knows you. I think they'd rather play teams away from the ACC.
I would think so.
This is
more
Thursday.
Of the East region. This is Jacksonville. Somebody named Jerry Klingman really wants us to be down there.
Maryland an out-large bid out of the Big Ten. Temple Owls sneaks in, and they're one of the last 4 teams in as they're in a playing game against Belmont. So the Owls got to be excited.
Happy for Fran Dunphy
in his last season.
A chance to get a win, too, maybe in that playing game.
They play a very good Belmont team. That'll be an interesting game.
They'll go to Dayton first.
Yeah, Belmont, that's in that large bid, I believe, too, because you can't be an automatic bid and have a playing game.
LSU, the 3rd seed, being Jacksonville as well.
Tony Benford filling in as the head coach, the interim head coach. They will meet the Yale Bulldogs from the Ivy League.
14 seed. Interesting to see the Ivy team got a 14. I was talking with some people who thought they may get a 12 or a 13, but a 14 for Yale at 22-7.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Well, this will be interesting to see who this 2 seed is here, Whitey.
I'll be on the bottom as well. I don't know if I want to go to Des Moines either.
Because you're going to hear that will be one of the teams that
is not going
to be disappointed that they're not a 1. So in that large bid for Minnesota as well.
No Big East teams in the East so far, huh?
And the last teams in the East, the 3rd
Michigan State.
So they just won the Big Ten tournament for our viewers who didn't see the end of that game. Came back to beat Michigan, but not enough to get them on the 1 line. They'll be the 2 seed.
I wonder if that game was played last night, if that would have made a difference.
Yeah. And you got to understand, you would think that they're the 4th 2 seed if you go by the bell curve, the S curve.
Because they're in
with Duke. So that's very interesting.
So they weren't even close to getting a 1 season, what you're saying. They're the 15 seed.
All right, who do the Spartans take on? Out of the Missouri Valley
Bradley.
Conference, the number 15 seed
Bradley Braves.
Out of the Missouri Valley. There's a shot of the Wildcats as they get ready to hopefully hear their name called shortly here. Phil Booth in front with the net around his neck that he
so richly deserves.
Darn right. Chance for him and Eric Baskett. Each cut one down yesterday.
He's won 132 games in his career.
Wow. What a run he's had.
And 9 championships.
I saw that stat.
That is just incredible. I think he's lost 21 times in 4 years. I lost 18 times 1 year.
That would be a challenging matchup for Mississippi State. Why waste time? Liberty beats Mississippi State. That's my first upset pick. How about a potential Duke-Virginia Tech Sweet 16 matchup? That would be an ACC rematch from the regular season. Remember, Virginia Tech beat Duke when they didn't have Zion, and Virginia Tech going to be at full strength.
It's true that Virginia Tech did beat Duke this year at Virginia Tech. It was a home game, as I mentioned, without Zion.
Like you guys, when you played Georgetown 3 times, you know, you played them close twice and then beat them in the championship. So no Big East teams in the East.
You got to be a little concerned if you're St. John's right now. You see Belmont as an at-large, Temple as an at-large. Yeah. Some of the teams you're kind of vying for. I'm going to think their non-conference schedule might hurt them.
And I think also it's hard to believe they wouldn't, if there's 4 teams in, they wouldn't try to have them in 4 regions if they could. Yeah, if I'm St. John's, I'm a little worried now. It's Seton Hall, who is definitely and had such a great non-league resumes that
as the
Villanova
CBS show just shows the Finneran Pavilion, the defending champs,
right there in
on
the
the
middle
board,
of the
along with a group of other schools. And since the CBS program is going to take a break, we'll take a quick break here on Nova Nation All Access. We'll be back with more of the 2019 NCAA Selection Show after this. Welcome back to the 2019 NCAA Selection Show on Nova Nation All Access. And, CBS has come back on the air. The East bracket has been completed. Number 1 seed out of the East, Whitey, the Duke Blue Devils.
And no Big East teams in the Eastern region.
Yes, the next bracket up is the South, and Virginia will be the number 1 seed out of the South.
Now, why wouldn't they have made Duke the number 1 seed in the South instead of the East?
Well, I think because of the regional, I think Duke would rather go to Washington, D.C. than Louisville, Kentucky.
So the number 1 seed in the South is Virginia.
So Virginia,
they're also in Columbia. So if you have tickets in Columbia, you get Duke and Virginia, which I think people knew.
The 4th team of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they will meet 16
They've picked 17 teams.
The Running Bulldogs out of the Big South.
They've picked 17 teams, and the ACC already has 4 of them.
Gardner-Webb, the 16 seed, will play Virginia. Virginia, obviously, last year with the upset to UMBC, will be ready for this game.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sure.
I think Virginia's just a much better offensive team this year. Those guards have really matured, and they're really, really good.
All right, the 8-9 game in the South. The 3rd seed out of the Southeastern is the Rebels of Ole Miss. Coach Kermit Davis in his first
This
year
region is showing you going back to Columbia and San Jose again.
Yeah.
So.
It's their Friday-Sunday games.
Yes.
Oklahoma's in. There was some talk about them being on the bubble. They come in as a 9 seed, so they're pretty safely inside the tournament.
19 and 13. Now back to San Jose.
Back to San Jose on Friday. So that was Columbia.
Second-round games in San Jose on Friday night and Sunday.
Wisconsin's a 5. I don't know if I want to be the.
Could it be a Villanova-Wisconsin rematch?
They talked about
in
that
the round of 32 out in San Jose. Let's see who
the 12 is.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a tough first-round game.
Oregon originally was picked.
Oregon is an automatic bid because they won the Pac-12 tournament last night with a win over Washington.
They get a 12.
Yeah, they were not going to make the tournament without that win.
All right. Moving on down.
Kansas State, the 4th seed, so I think we're not in San Jose.
They won't be in San Jose. So Kansas State and Wisconsin. Kansas State, who upset, I shouldn't say upset, won the Big 12 this year to stop Kansas' streak, was upset in the tournament.
Pretty good seed for them.
Yeah, by Iowa State. Well, they're Big 12 regular season champs.
Yeah.
They will play the number 13 seed out of the Big West.
UC Irvine, 30 wins.
Yeah.
The Anteaters.
Those teams you got to worry about. They're used to winning. Yeah. You know, that scares you a little bit when you have a 30-win team.
And they generally have upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Those
leagues, yeah. So they're going to be experienced.
Yep. That's a good. That's an interesting game. Now we're going to go to Hartford, one of the places people think we could be.
Yeah. Hey, the Wildcats go to my hometown, Whitey.
How about that? It's a 6 seed, which is a little surprising, but I'll take it. Go to Hartford on Thursday.
And let's see, 6 will play in 11. Let's see who the 11 is.
Cole Swider stood up, no one else did.
He's from Providence. He wants to go back home. It's close enough. Oh, a rematch from the 2010 tournament.
That was one of the most disappointing games of my broadcasting career when they lost to St. Mary's up in Providence.
Played very well against Gonzaga. Beat Gonzaga last week in the conference tournament to get in. So a rematch from 2010 where St. Mary's upset the Wildcats in Providence.
That was an automatic, but that was a second-round game up in Providence. They have to fly all the way across the country.
Let's see who the 3 seed is.
Purdue, who we played last year.
Yep. Team we played last couple years. We're in the same bracket as last year. They were beaten by Texas Tech, or we would have played them in the Final 8.
Old Dominion. Yeah. We played them once. Remember that game?
I do very
well.
They were
also a 14 seed then, too. Well, that's the Wildcats will take on St. Mary's, the Gales. Crowd should favor Villanova up there. You better get your tickets ready, Steve. All your hometown people. Cincinnati, the Bearcats.
Who won the American Conference Tournament today with an upset win over Houston.
7 seed. That is very low, especially considering their win today.
6 seed for Villanova is a little higher than I thought.
Yeah, I thought we'd certainly be a 4 or a 5.
Yeah.
Makes your first round game very difficult. But you know, it's every game in this tournament is going to be difficult.
Yeah, you got to go. You got to go out and play. You got to make shots. Cincinnati,
Cincinnati out. It's a really good first round game right there. So Tennessee gets a 2 seed. So it's Virginia is the 1, Tennessee is the 2 and Purdue is the 3 in the East so far. Excuse me, in the South.
The South region is in Louisville, right?
Yes.
I think Tennessee's a good team. Play hard, tough kids.
We saw them last year in the Bahamas.
Exactly.
Had a double-figure lead on the Wildcats at halftime. The Wildcats stormed back in the battle for Atlantis to beat them. Colgate, a surprise winner of the Patriot League, will be the 15 seed. They beat Bucknell in the championship game.
Yep. 11 straight wins, they said. That's pretty good.
Yep.
I like to see the way those schools react like that. You see Colgate when they're getting in the tournament. And, so Villanova would play St. Mary's, and then the winner of Purdue Old Dominion. They get past the first round.
What a job Jay Wright did when you talk about what they lost from a year ago. The leadership of high school and built really a huge part of the development of their young players to win both regular season and conference championships again.
Talking on CBS now.
Yeah. Clark Kellogg with some fine compliments for Coach Wright and his team this year.
To pull first-round upsets, and I think that's what happens here. I think Oregon beat Wisconsin and UC Irvine. You talked about Dean Wade being hurt for Kansas State, so they're a little bit in a weak spot there. So I like those two teams.
Well, 12s are 16 and
Well, the only one I missed, you have the 3 in the South? Purdue, I got that. Okay.
All right, let's slide on to the second half of the South region bracket. We talked about Villanova and Purdue.
They're going to turn the volume down here in the building, so they'll probably, my guess is they're going to probably interview Coach Wright.
Yeah, because he's going to get.
All right, Nova Nation, thanks for coming out, everybody. What a day.
We'll let Coach Wright talk.
How about doing this in the fin? This is pretty nice in the fin, right? This is cool. We want to thank everybody for coming out here and sharing this day with us, but also for making this such a great vibe in here, man. It's so exciting to have all of you with us, and this is always a special day. I say this every year. I know the people that have been at Villanova for a long time, you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but it's really true. We can never take this for granted. Being in the NCAA tournament is really 68 teams out of 350-some schools, and some players never get to do it. Some fans rarely get to do it. So every chance we get to do this, let's enjoy this opportunity. Let's be grateful for the opportunity we have, and let's take each year and enjoy the ride. All right, this is going to be a special year, I promise you. All right. What we really take pride in here is this great tradition. It's not the wins and losses. It's you. It's all of you. It's all of our faculty here, all of our basketball alums that are here with us. That's what we take great pride in, and most of all, and how our players represent Villanova. They play for the name on the front of their jersey, and they take great pride in representing all the great Villanovans on the court and off the court that have come before us. So with that said, I'd like you to hear from a couple of our guys who will be playing in the NCAA tournament for their last time. We're going to start off with Peyton Heck, our senior, who has been a great leader for us this year.
What's up, Nova Nation? So we just want to thank all the students that came out today. We got a great crowd for this awesome event. We love you guys, and we're excited to play St. Mary's in Hartford. Thank you.
And next, a guy who's done a great job for us. You don't see it all the time, but in practices and as a leader on this team, he's had a tough 4 years with injuries, but academically he's been amazing, and as a leader and member of our team, he's been amazing. Tim Delaney.
What's up, everybody? We just want to say thank you to everyone that came out to Madison Square Garden for the Big East tournament, the dance team, the cheerleaders, the band. We've got a great group of fans, and we're getting ready to take on the NCAA tournament next. So thank you.
And then next, these two guys are going to go down as two of Villanova's all-time greats. Not just as players, but as guys that represent the university. You know, they always talk about players, you know, should get paid and all this stuff. You know, our guys take pride in what they get, the education of Villanova and being part of all of you and how well everybody supports them. But if anybody was going to get paid, these two should get like extra pay for being assistant coaches this year, because they helped our staff. They were like players and coaches. Their leadership was amazing, and they in their career 3 straight Big East tournament championships. No one's ever done that in the history of the Big East. These guys were great leaders in every one of those championships, and we're just so lucky to have had them a part of the basketball team playing, but they'll always be a part of this Villanova family, and they're not done yet. Let's start with Eric Pascal.
I just want to say thank you for supporting us throughout our whole career. I mean, it means a lot to us. I mean, it's a great crowd here. Appreciate everything Nova Nation has done for us, and hope to see you guys at Hartford.
And finally, a guy that if I was better with stats, and I promise you, at the end of the year at our banquet, our great sports information director, Mike Sheridan, will get me all the stats, but he's probably broken all the records for most wins, most championships, most everything as a Villanova player. I mean, he has. I just don't know what all the numbers are. And it's really because of selflessness. He has always been about the team first, and it was so cool to see him win the MVP because he's always the guy that's about the team. And to get the MVP of the Big East tournament, it was kind of cool. I don't know if you saw it on TV, but he also did a great rendition of New York, New York. He sounded like Frank Sinatra. Could you see that on TV? You missed it. When we were up on the podium, he knows all the words. He was awesome. But he's one of the greatest Villanova guards of all time, Phil Booth.
I just want to say thank you for coming out today. For Good Selection Sunday. It's very fortunate to be in the NCAA tournament again. You know, for our last run, this team together and some of our seniors. Hopefully you guys can make it out to Hartford, Connecticut for us to watch us play, and we'll see what we can do. Go Cats.
We really do cherish this opportunity, and we want to thank all of you for coming to Madison Square Garden. It's amazing to walk on that court and feel like it's your home court. We can hear you all, and as the guys said, you know, our dance team's up there, our cheerleaders, our band plays the national anthem. It's like a home game. It's awesome for us. So we really do appreciate you guys being there for us, and we hope you all can do it in Hartford. Let's make that a home game, and let's get it started. We're going to get to work, start preparing. Thank you, Nova Nation. Thanks for coming out. We love you.
We're going to take a quick break after we just heard from Coach Wright. He's kind of filled us all in on his plans, and we heard from the seniors. We'll be back with more of the 2019 NCAA Selection Show right here on Nova Nation All Access. Welcome back to the 2019 NCAA Selection Show here on Nova Nation All Access. You see some members of the band flashing their V's, Whitey. The St. Mary's Gales, what do you know about them?
Not much. I know that they're in the conference with Gonzaga, and Gonzaga has won that conference like forever. But they were always the second best team. And we played them in the NCAA tournament a few years back in Providence in the Eastern region. Seton Hall just get picked as a 10 seed. They'll play Wofford, who's a 7.
A very good Wofford team.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting game. At the same conference as Furman was in for Villanova people.
And we played St. Mary's. You played St. Mary's as a coach one time as well. Joined by our first guest, Seton Hall.
We'll finish up before we'll let our guest get settled here, put his headset on, and we'll let the Nova Nation know who it is as soon as he gets adjusted. You ready to go there, young man? We're joined by sophomore point guard Colin Gillespie. Colin, the guys get ready to go to Hartford on Thursday, and you're going to play St. Mary's. You've seen them at all this year on TV?
Gonzaga, we know
They beat New Orleans in the Southland Tournament Championship.
But I haven't really seen much on them yet, but we know they're a great team. They're in the NCAA tournament, so just have to prepare and let the coaches get the scout ready for us.
Now, as a sophomore, what are you taking into this year that you obviously didn't have last year as a freshman in your first experience? What did you learn from that 6-game run last year you think can help you this year as you prepare for St. Mary's?
Definitely a lot. I mean, what I took from last year is just that every game you have to be locked in. I mean, learning from those guys last year that there's going to be distractions that comes with the NCAA tournament. You just have to take it one game at a time. Prepare for the team that you're going to play and play as hard as you can.
Colin, for a guy who's now one of the returning players from last year's team that played a lot, and you obviously played a lot this year too, how much has your role changed with regards to being a leader on this team off the court, more on the court, because you have a lot of young guys who are playing minutes for the first time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year we had 6 or 7 guys that have been in the program, been here for a few years, and they know what it took. So this year it's Phil, E., some of the walk-ons, Tim, Peyton, the guys who have been here before. So now I have to step up, be a leader for this team, and just help us prepare as best we can for this NCAA tournament.
How about playing in the Big East, playing in the Big East Conference? Is that something, the style of play that you guys play in the East and in the Big East, that helps you moving forward, playing teams like St. Mary's? How much can St. Mary's know about you?
I mean, it depends on how much they watch us, and they've watched us, but playing in the Big East, it prepares you every night, playing against tough teams, tough environments. So I think that's really important for us, as being in the Big East, going down to the Garden, playing 3 days, 3 tough games in that tough environment. It's going to really help us in the long run.
And you guys have played, you in particular, and obviously certainly Phil and Eric, have played in big games all the time. That's when I think seeing the games the past couple of days in the Garden, there's kind of nothing you guys haven't kind of faced before. You've won from ahead, you've won from behind, you've won close games, you've won blowout games. So there's really nothing that you should see that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just being in those games, like I said this weekend, coming from behind against Xavier, having a tough overtime game, having to grind it out and fight and scrap and do whatever we could to steal it in the end. And I think it's really going to help us try to make a run in the NCAA tournament.
Now, Kyle, has Coach shared this? You guys are going to play Thursday. We know that. We don't have the time yet. Has Coach shared the schedule with you? What are you guys going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
He hasn't yet. I'm sure we'll go over it right after this. But, I mean, I'm sure it'll be just coming off of today. We have a rest day today. Probably a practice. We'll definitely practice this week. You know him.
You guys will be ready.
Let me ask you, are you tired? And more importantly, do you think any of your teammates are tired? People talked a lot late in the season. They thought Phil and Eric might be a little fatigued.
I mean, we do a great job. Jeff, Shaq, they do a great job with us of making sure we're hydrated, make sure our bodies are right. So, I mean, all of our guys will be fine. We'll be prepared.
Kyle, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us. Best of luck in the NCAA tournament.
Thank you. Appreciate
Enjoy it, Colin. Have fun with it.
Exactly.
We're going to wait. We're back here at the selection show for Nova Nation All Access. We're joined by another sophomore, Jermaine Samuels. Jermaine, I got a quick question for you. What is it about you making threes late in the game? You don't like making them in the first half, just late in the game?
Yeah, I've noticed that pattern a little bit, but I guess, I don't really know. They feel good. I don't know. I really can't answer the question.
You know what? The Villanova fans like them. That was beautiful. Now, I just keep teaching you. Obviously, I was just talking about you made some really big shots up there in the tournament. Obviously, a couple of threes late against Xavier, the big three late in the game against Seton Hall in the championship game the other day. Talk a bit about it. You shot the ball early in the season. You made some big threes against Temple here, which is a huge game for us. Then in the middle of the season, you were more kind of a distributor, a facilitator for us. Talk about your confidence growing now as an offensive player.
It all comes from, the coaching staff, my teammates believing in me and giving me the opportunities, go out there and make plays, and, without them, I wouldn't be able to, step into the shots within rhythm and, attack the basket like I do.
Jermaine, I've watched you obviously your whole career here, and what I've always been impressed by was much more so than your scoring or your shooting, was how well you play the other facets of the game. Defensively, you've grown and grown as a player. You block shots, you run up and down the floor, you try to take charge, you try to flick the ball from behind. But more times than not, you're guarding someone much bigger than you. Has that become a challenge for you? Because my guess is growing up in high school, that didn't happen for you.
No, it didn't happen. That was definitely something new that was, that was added this year. Coach telling me that, that it is what it is. I'm going to be down there with the big men. Having guys like Eric and Dada going against them every day in practice and then pushing me, and being in the weight room with Shaq, give me the opportunity to, excel in those matchups down low.
And does that create offensive help for you? Because there's more times than not now you're going to be played by a big guy.
Yeah, it invites some advantages at the same time, and if it works in my favor, I'll do my best to execute them.
And Jermaine, you talk a little bit about your ability to rebound. At your height, your size, as Whitey mentioned, you're playing against much bigger players, and you've done an outstanding job on the glass all season long. And then people talk about it's just kind of a mindset. Do you feel it's that way? Just go get the basketball?
Yeah, rebounding has always been natural to me ever since I started playing basketball. And Villanova, coming to this school, they teach you the technique and learning about the game a little bit more and how to become a better rebounder. And
we asked the same question to Colin. Have you had a chance to see St. Mary's at all this year on TV? Did you catch the game with Gonzaga last week at all? Or
I think it might have been a late game, or maybe we might have had a game going on, but I did not get a chance to catch the game. But I heard about them beating Gonzaga.
Jermaine, how much do you think you've learned going through this from last year? Going through this once before, this is your second pass through. Do you feel you can be an assistant, a leader to someone like Saddiq, who's now going through for the first time?
Yeah. Last year I was in it, but I wasn't really in it. Like I had to learn from the guys that like Mikhail and Jalen, Dante, Amari, and coming in this year, learning the system and stepping in and having a major role, gave me the opportunity to help guys out like Deke and me and him have been able to grow together on the basketball court.
For a Massachusetts guy, you got to be happy going back to New England, right?
Yeah. My dad already texted me now.
There you go. That's great. Congratulations.
If your dad, I grew up in Hartford, so if your dad needs anything, I got him.
All right. I told him that.
Jermaine, we appreciate you taking some time to join. We're going to jump in with one of your teammates next.
Congrats, Jermaine. Great job.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And you see Eric Pascal here being interviewed. We're going to be joined by one of the best 5 freshmen in the Big East Conference this year. He's had an outstanding, we'll call it a rookie campaign, a freshman year. From Sidwell Friends in Washington, D.C.
How you doing?
We're doing great.
Saddiq Bay. Saddiq, congratulations on a great freshman year. Talk about it a little bit as a young man, you guys, ever since you probably picked up dreamed about playing in the NCAA tournament. What does this mean? Now you have your opportunity.
It's just great to be able to do it with my brothers. We work hard every day just to be the best team we could be by the end of the season. So it's just a grateful, blessed opportunity for us to be able to play.
Saddiq, how different has it been from beginning of this freshman year to where you are now? Do you feel like you've grown up, feel like you've learned a lot, or you feel like you're a different player than you were when you started?
Oh, for sure. Just playing hard every possession and try to be for my teammates and just be a part of something that's bigger than me to really just kind of help my game and just help my confidence in the game.
The idea, and I think you made a good point, of playing every play. My guess is, with your athleticism and your size, in high school you didn't have to play every day. You didn't have to play every game. But now every play of every game is vital, and when you don't at this level, someone's just going to go by it.
Oh, sure. I mean, 94 by 50 is the saying we use. Play every possession for 40 minutes. You could, the games are so small in the margin. You could win the game by 20 or lose by 2 or just one play. So good job to not take any play for granted.
Saddiq, let's talk a little bit about last night. You had a great game in a Big East championship game as a freshman. I had the opportunity to sit behind Josh Hart, who's your biggest fan, by the way. He was cheering so hard for his guy from Sidwell Friends. But let's just talk about your feelings of getting an opportunity to play in Madison Square Garden, play for the Big East championship in your freshman year.
I mean, it was just great. I mean, the people who played before us, the alumni, and our team. It's just great to play for our brothers and just play for the people, for the staff, for everybody who put an effort into the Villanova program. Just try to play hard and play Villanova basketball, for every second.
Just saw that St. John's made them one of the play-in games in Dayton.
Oh, so they did
St. John's, so fourth
Okay.
team from the league.
Oh, wow.
Playing in this league, playing in the Big East Storm for the first time, what were your thoughts on the atmosphere in the Garden?
I mean, it was just great. I mean, I hear about it so much as a little kid, just, the arena and everything, but just playing in it was just a great experience. But just coaches make sure not any distraction, but just to try to play the best we can Villanova basketball.
And how about, Steve mentioned Josh Hart. What's your relationship with Josh Hart? It's interesting you guys both came from the same high school and kind of boarded each other on Villanova. You pretty close to Josh?
Yeah, we talked, in like my junior year championship game, he came to, our locker room and talked to us. So, I look up to him, look to what he did, from Villanova and my high school. So it's just great to have, someone that I can follow.
Saddiq, I asked your teammates, I don't know if you stay up late at night and watch these West Coast games. You had a chance to see St. Mary's at all this year?
No, I'm not.
So I think Coach will probably have some film for you pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Saddiq, we appreciate you taking some time to join us, and best of luck up in Hartford.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations, Saddiq.
Thank you.
So we've been joined by Colin Gillespie, Jermaine Samuels, and then just had Saddiq Bay. And Whitey, he's had an outstanding freshman year. Kind of, the late recruit. So I don't want to say he was, we knew about the other three. They signed early. Saddiq came on late. We didn't really know as much about him, but that's a heck of a pickup by the coaching staff.
A great pick. And I think he's going to get better and better. I think he's gotten better and better. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic. He has developed a real nose for the basketball. You see him constantly getting those follow-up dunks on offensive rebounds. And I think the combination of he and Jermaine Samuels have really become very good rebounders on an undersized team. But he's not that undersized. He's a big, strong kid.
Yeah, he's every bit of 6'8".
I think he's the only one that's 6'8".
And then you lock him in the gym this summer, and he consistently knocks down that jump shot, which he shot for a very high percentage this year. But I think that can really improve with some more time in the gym, and I think he'll do an outstanding job from the perimeter.
Yeah, he gets compared a lot with Josh Hart because they're both from Sidwell Friends. But I think their games are different. He actually, I think, has had a better shooting freshman year than Josh Hart did. Josh Hart had that huge motor from the very beginning. But I think he's bigger and stronger.
All right, we'll take a quick break here as we have a minute or two in between guests. So we'll be back with more of the 2019 NCAA Selection Show on Nova Nation All Access after this. Welcome back to the 2019 NCAA Selection Show here on Nova Nation All Access. I'm Steve Pannone. I've been joined by Whitey Rigsby, and we had an opportunity to talk to a couple of sophomores and a freshman. Whitey, NCAA tournament, one-shot deal. Obviously, you win in advance. If you lose, you go home. I've seen a little bit of St. Mary's. They're going to play 4 out, 1 in. They did a really good job defensively against Gonzaga, and they really slowed the pace, which Villanova's used to paying that pace.
Yeah, I think, frankly, Villanova would rather play against a team that's going to slow it down than speed it up. This team this year has had more of a difficult job scoring points. So, this team doesn't score in the 80s and 90s like we did a year ago. This team is going to generally play in the 60s more. So I think a slower pace probably suits us a little bit. And I think the 3 guys that we had on will be vital to Villanova's movement in this tournament.
Yeah.
And as you say, 1 and done, that's what makes it so exciting.
And, St. Mary's comes in 22-11. They defeat Gonzaga to win the West Coast Conference. That score was 60-47. So you got to credit their defense, obviously. Holding Gonzaga to 47 points was a very potent offensive team. So obviously a very strong St. Mary's defense. Should be a low-scoring game, a heck of a game. At this time of year, that's what you expect.
Yeah, it is. And again, the Villanova faithful and Nova Nation, and you and I included in that, are somewhat spoiled. We've had a pretty good NCAA tournament record of the last few years. It's worked out pretty well for us. So we're going to be playing somewhat locally as we possibly could, like we have the past few years. We've been in Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Boston, those kind of places. So this year we're going to be in Hartford, which is a close place. So I know you're looking forward to talking to people about tickets.
Yeah, my brother and sister have already reached out, so I'll be alienated from the family when I tell them no. But it's going to be great. The Wildcats played up there last year against UConn. The Villanova faithful have been going up there for 100 years when UConn was in the Big East. So it's going to be an exciting time. I look forward to seeing you up there in Hartford, and should be a great run again for the Cats.
Should be a lot of fun. I look forward to playing Gonzaga. I like playing teams like this that we don't know anything about. Yeah. As opposed to playing some of the teams that we see on the East Coast or even the Big Ten, that all the players, everybody. It's fun to go out and play a team. I can't name one player on the St. Mary's team, and I like that.
That's great. Well, that'll close it out for the 2019 NCAA Selection Show here on Nova Nation All Access. Stay tuned to Nova Nation All Access all week, as we'll have updates as the Wildcats head up to Hartford for the 2019 NCAA tournament. For Whitey Rigsby, I'm Steve Pannone. Have a good night.